Hi, my name is Bhatti and I'm the PES European Brand Manager. So for PES 2015, our main focus is going back to the basics, going back to the pitch, and what made us special. And that was the gameplay. Back when the PS2 days, there was no talk of licenses or anything like that. It was all about how good your game played. So when we started working on PES 15, we're using a lot of feedback from last year, a lot of negative feedback of what the fans wanted from our game. We used the opportunity on the new consoles to reset ourselves really and rethink of what we wanted to achieve with the series. And we focused on the gameplay, first and foremost, making it more responsive, bringing in much more animations and visual elements as well, but making sure that the feeling of shooting and the goalkeeper relationship with that as well and scoring those goals just felt fantastic. So they were the main points for us this year.
Okay. You say that you want to recapture that kind of PES 5, PES 6 kind of era, that feeling. What do you think are the kind of key things that, make for that feeling that, was so prevalent with 5 and 6?
Yeah, and that's really interesting actually. We sat in a room for many weeks talking about these sorts of things, and we sort of brought it down or condensed it down. One of the things is making it super responsive. I mean, PES 14, we brought in a lot of visual elements, and we made a beautiful looking game that didn't play so beautiful, unfortunately. So the animations were playing out, you would be trying to press the button or pass the ball, and it wouldn't react to what you were doing. So in PES 5 and 6, it was super responsive. Not in a very arcade fashion, but just so you always felt that you were in control. And that was the second point, feeling full control of what you were doing. That allowed you to be really instinctive and react to what actually happened. So a great moment was just happening there and then. It wouldn't happen again the same place, the same match, or a different match. It was something new and something new. And then it was actually the goal scoring as well, the ball feeling free, shooting from anywhere, chancing it, the goalkeeper not messing up and you scoring a crappy goal. Everything was top corner, screamers, the R2 curler, for example. All these things are all PES and why people play that game. And we feel like because we know what those magic moments were, we feel like we can definitely bring that into PES 15 this year.
I know a big part of kind of the glory days of PES, if you like, for me was the kind of depth of character customization, how extreme you could go with that.
Nice.
I mean, my friends used to make teams of like weirdos. Is there that kind of level of customization going to be in PES 2015 as well?
Of course, yeah, and we've taken it a little bit further as well. We've brought in new player motions, which we've obviously, we were kind of known for having Ronaldo running a certain way, Bale or Robin, for example, but we've brought in hundreds and hundreds of new motions for players. I've been showing people Ozil today, but we've got different types of players like Pirlo and Ibrahimovic as well. So we've brought that into the edit mode, so you can put those kind of motions. You can run like Ronaldo, and you could take a penalty like him, and so forth. And so same with the sort of the accessories as well. We've brought in player tape, bicycle shorts, I think they are. High socks, low socks, all these little things.
Is there a kind of sense that being kind of late to new gen, if you like, you kind of feel like you're playing catch up with FIFA a little bit, or do you think you've moved beyond that?
Do you know, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I was worried before I saw the game. I was worried before I saw FIFA, and I think they're probably doing a lot more things in the game, in the engine. Whether it's the animations and so forth, or whether it's just, I know they focus a lot on modes and stuff, so maybe that's their focus this year. But we've managed to catch up quite quickly and a lot faster than what I thought. And I think that a lot of that is down to the Fox engine. I really do, because it's such a powerful engine, and I'm sure you're seeing stuff in Metal Gear Phantom Pain which are blowing you away. And I think for us, PES, we've managed to make a game which looks really good first attempt and not be behind, which is really nice, by the way. But also it's moving great as well, and it's not as great, and we're still working on the animations and obviously the visuals, because we're not finished and we're coming out a little bit later, so we've got more time to polish it. But we're in a really good place right now, and if ever you are going to come to a generation late, the one thing you worry about is your first year against everyone else's second year.
Yeah.
And I think in other genres you're seeing some wonderful things.
Do you think that the audience, people who play PES, do you think they still place an emphasis on licenses and things? Because obviously you don't have all the licenses that
That's
FIFA
right.
have. Do you see that as being an important aspect?
It's important. I think it becomes important when we definitely have made a very good football game. Now, for us as a fan, so I've been working with PES for about a year and a half now. Before that, I was a fan like everybody, and I felt let down by the team in terms of the kind of game that was made. And as now working with Konami, I felt like we let down the fans last year with the game that we made as well. So there's been a lot of differences of opinion and changes for PES 15. It's the first game that the UK studio, European studio, has made with Tokyo, and we've made a big difference, hopefully positive. We certainly feel it's positive. And it's about, I think, new, fresh minds and thinking about things maybe of how, maybe just the fans think about how PES, why it was great and why they played PES. Licensing can become an issue, I think, if we're doing the best we can. If we do the best we can and we still, people still disregard us, then we've got a problem. But it's also good to remember that we do have some of our own exclusive, like Champions League, Libertadores, Asian Champions League. We still haven't finished signing up our licenses as well yet for the year. So you might have some news later on as well. So we have some stuff of our own, and we have all the leagues as well. I think what's hurt us is the gameplay, and I think we had to acknowledge that, because if we never did, we might have had the same situation as we had on PS2, where we entered the PS3 and we had a really poor game compared to what we were doing with PES 5 and 6. So with this shift of consoles, we have to be perfect, really.
Yeah. What do you think specifically was lacking from the previous PES games that is back for this one?
It's the feeling, really. I mean, I mentioned those things that made PES 5 and 6 popular and what we sort of failed on last year, and it really is the responsiveness and the feeling and the individuality. I mean, PES was known for making a star player feel like they do in the game as they action in real life, and those things I felt just became missing. We did a lot of research, based on why people play PES and why they still hope PES is good again, and those sorts of things. And a lot of it comes from the heritage of the history that we have with the fans, and it was quite easy for us to quite actually pinpoint this is why people played PES. It's that couch co-op, it's playing against your friends, it's maybe at the time people were at uni and it was the only football game and everyone was having a great time with it. There's so many stories that we actually got from the fans as well, so a whole host of things.
In this one as well, you've kind of called upon the PES community to help with player stats and player ID and things. How do you go about collating that information and bringing it together as the kind of arguments within that community, saying yes and no?
It's wonderful, and we have a lot of secret chat groups going on where people are having arguments and discussions about it, but we take that feedback on, and really in the studio we're the ones who then implement it, because we're working with the gameplay designers. So the gameplay designers obviously make something like acceleration fast in the game, which is nice and simple, but then how do you make ball control? Is it just a case of instant touch, or how about a volley, or how about something else, a chest control? So they might think a stat should be a certain thing, yet we know how it works in the game as well. But we collect all this data based on real data as well. So these guys are local, yet they're using local real data. So it just means that sometimes, as I found actually, I was doing some research on the Asian Champions League, and a lot of those clubs actually don't have any UK websites or UK information, so it's only in the local language. So unless you search in the local language, you won't find it. So it's very important to get this information, and this is why we've got local experts everywhere as well. It really helps. But the arguments are good, and we do have live data this year as well. So if the majority disagree, we can change it just like that.
With the demo coming out a couple of months before the game itself launches, and a week before FIFA launches, are you confident that people will play it and they'll maybe wait that extra couple of months, with FIFA just around the corner? Waiting
is kind of like something that I'm just happy that they would consider buying it, because I think FIFA is at a stage now where it's sort of a lot more than a game to a lot of people. It's an industry in itself, It's the ultimate team element, for example. So my main focus actually is to put it out there and for people to actually acknowledge that we are good again, because people really need to believe in PES, and if we're very confident in the game, it's kind of a statement of intent really. We're going to put it out there. We're not out for a few months, but there you go. Here's something to consider. And sure, if it changes some minds, then it'll be amazing. Even if it makes someone buy both games, that would be amazing. But in reality, I kind of want the fans to be happy again, and the people who left PES to have a reason to come back.
Yeah.
Even if they don't, or they buy both, they now have a reason to come back.
And of course, on the Ultimate Team front, you kind of have a similar mode now called MyClub. So.
Yeah, and we've taken from that, and kind of like how we try to work with PES is by having a realistic angle on everything with what we do. So with MyClub, we're using agents, so it's not a card game. It's where you're buying different levels of agents. The better agent you have, the better player or manager you have. At the same time, it's not that simple where if you've got loads of real money in real life, you can just buy the best. Because then what happens is your manager has a formation and a strategy. So if you get Pep Guardiola, he's going to play 4-3-3. He's going to play a passing game. So if you have a squad of players when you get him who like 4-4-2 and want to hoof it upfield, you've got a problem. Saying that you can stick with them, you can try and work with them in that formation, and they will learn to play better and work together better over time. So we're not forcing things on you, but it'll be a lot easier if you went and bought the players to fit the system, for example.
All right, if you could just finish then in one sentence, kind of sum up why people should buy PES 2015.
In one sentence?
In one sentence.
So I think everyone should be playing and therefore purchasing PES 2015 because we feel this year we've gone back to the best gameplay. PES 2015 is out November 13th on PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS3 and PC.